Hi everyone and welcome to Inderes TV. Today we're going to talk about KONE with Analyst Aapeli Pursimo. Welcome.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about the Q4. So in a nutshell, how was the Q4 for KONE?
Again, it was quite well in line with the expectations. Of course, there was some headwind from the currencies as expected, but on the comparable basis, there was a solid growth in top line and also in especially with the orders. But overall, quite well in line with the expectations as usual.
In line with expectations. So what about the revenue mix? Is modernization still growing and new build still declining?
Yes, that's the case. That's the case, and of course, the China has a big effect on that in the NBS business. But on the other hand, there is a solid growth track for the aftermarket businesses, and especially in modernization, which grew double-digit pace for Q4 and whole 2025, and also in the service business, it's a let's say mid to high single-digit growth track.
Okay. So what does the order intake look like?
There was a nice growth in a comparable basis, so it was a little bit over 10%. And also with the reported figures, it exceeded expectations slightly, and overall there is a quite good momentum in the order side, but of course there can be some between the quarters there can
some
be
fluctuation.
Yeah, and that's typical. And also it's good to remember that with KONE's order intake, there is not the whole service business. It is not reported in there, so it.
Oh, it's not.
No, not the whole service business,
Yeah.
but the whole NBS and modernization and some part of the service business.
Yeah. So you mentioned China already, but now comes the mandatory China question. How big share of the revenue comes from China at the moment, and what does the market situation look like?
In Q4, China's share of revenue was 17%, and in the comparison period, it was 21%, so it's coming down quite fast.
Yeah, it is.
But like already said, the NBS market, it's declining still, and there is no signs of recovery. But on the other hand, the company sees opportunities in the aftermarket businesses. So it's a little bit mixed. So the NBS is still declining quite fast, but its share of the whole group's revenue is declining also. So it's a kind of balancing act, and the KONE has also focused on the cash flow and margin side. So they have also done some housekeeping in the service side, so they can focus on those pillars about the cash flow and margins. So, but let's say that the aftermarket is good, but NBS, no signs of recovery for 2026 at least.
Okay, yeah, interesting picture there. So what kind of guidance did KONE give, and how do they see the market conditions at the moment?
So KONE gave a guidance where they expect the sales growth to be 2 to 6% with comparable exchange rates, and the margin to be 12.3 to 13.0%. So the margin, if we start with the margin, it was the midpoint of the guidance was a little bit below the market expectations, but not that major deviation. So the expectation was 12.9, so it was the upper end.
Yeah.
Yep. But still, if we look at the recent development and the changes in the sales mix, you could maybe argue that the lower lower range of the guidance is somewhat cautious in both in the top line and also for the margin side.
Yeah.
But KONE has typically revised its guidance throughout the year. So if there is no any major changes in the market environment, we see that it could at least increase the lower boundaries of the ranges they have given.
Yeah. And what about the market conditions?
Market conditions, especially in the modernization, it's a very strong market. In the service side, quite good, but in the NBS business, it's somewhat mixed. So slight growth in Europe and Americas, quite strong growth in the APMEA, so Asia Pacific, Middle East, and Africa, and declining market in China. But if we look at one of KONE's competitors, Otis comments, we can see that in the global level, maybe it's quite it's stabilizing the whole NBS market, but of course the China is burdening the whole picture.
The whole picture, yeah. Okay, so that's the picture there. What about valuation and recommendation?
So if we look at the KONE's multiples with the actualized figures, the multiples are high even for the quality company like KONE.
Yeah.
And even though we see quite good earnings growth rate for the coming years, we see that the earnings growth will be go for the digesting of the current high multiples. So we are staying on the reduced recommendation there.
Yes. Thank you, Aapeli, for all these comments.
Thank you.
Thank you. And if you want to know more about KONE, go to inderes.se. And if you have more questions to Aapeli, you can sign in to our forum. Thank you.